But thank you all for having me today. My name is Martin McGovern, and I run a company called Career Therapy. What Career Therapy does is we help you navigate the emotional and promotional sides of the job search, basically making it less stressful for everyone involved. Because the job search can be fairly stressful. Who here feels like the job search is kind of stressful? Yeah, everyone, exactly. What is it that's stressing you out the most right now? Time. What else? Assignments. Anyone else? Finding the right job. All right, that's where I want to start today. Because, we're at a point where there's a lot of eyes on us, right? We're at a point where you feel like the next move you make is going to be everything, that it's going to set the tone for everything else in your career, right? If you don't make the right decision now, it's just a domino effect down the line. Well, hopefully in this presentation, you'll see that there is a lot of room for error, which is a good thing. And then what we can do is plan strategically so that every move we make still moves us forward, even if it's not the next perfect, most amazing, life-changing thing that there is, right? So at this job fair that you're about to go to, you're going to be talking with a lot of people. Some companies that you're interested in, some that you're crazy interested in, and some that you could care less about. But we need to look at all of them as interesting opportunities to move in a certain direction, rather than, this person, I have no stress, this person, I'm about to have a panic attack, right? We want to have a nice even keel through our job search so that we're doing things to the best of our ability. So who am I? My name is Martin McGovern. I started my career out in the marketing space, and I did a lot of digital advertising, personal branding. I worked with a ton of startups all through the city to launch their companies, create brands, sell themselves for venture capital, things like that. And over the years, my work in marketing has shifted from helping companies use these psychological and behavioral techniques to get your money, to reversing that trend and using those same techniques to get them to hire us and give us money. All right? So that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today, is how can you reverse engineer the things that are used to sell you products to help you sell yourself for a job, to help you land the job that you want, stand out from the person sitting next to you, even if you're really good friends right now, right? There's going to be some healthy competition in the room. I've worked with a ton of different organizations over the years. Some of my clients have been Evolve Security Academy. They teach cybersecurity and how to break into that field. Turing School of Web Development, so they're all about how to break into web dev, and it's a very intensive program. General Assembly, I've worked with their UX folks, their data science folks, pretty much everyone across the board get jobs. Victory Lab is a sales boot camp. The Muse is an online platform that has job search tips, tricks, articles, career coaches, postings. It's an amazing site. I highly recommend checking it out. Udacity and Flatiron School, which was recently bought by WeWork. So all of these organizations are trying to help people make shifts in their careers, break into new industries, do something different, stay on top of new technology, and that's what I help people do. I help them do it in a way that keeps them sane and helps them deal with rejection and helps them build their career in the way that they want to go. So, who here has a job for me? Any of you can hire me? Many of you hire me for a job right now? No, right? You don't have just money sitting to the side, waiting to just hand it over to someone who wants a job? No? I see a lot of confused faces. Why am I talking like this? I'm talking like this because this is how you sound when you go to a company and say, give me a job. Where's my job? I'm graduating. Where's my job? How come no one's giving me a job? The reason no one's giving you a job is because you haven't communicated value yet. They're not sitting there, like a dragon with a mound of cash, a mound of gold, just saying, who shall I divvy out jobs to this week? They're sitting there saying, oh my God, our company's going to go under if we don't hire someone to help us with this. We have a data issue. We just got breached. We have a sales issue. We don't have anyone who can sell our product. We have a user experience issue. No one's pressing purchase. They keep falling off because there's too many clicks on the website. Companies have problems. They don't have jobs. Our job as the job seeker is to identify those problems and communicate how we solve them. And if we can do that effectively, we will always have a job. The only people who don't end up in roles are the people who keep saying, how come no one is solving my problem of being unemployed? Why isn't there a team out there of recruiters solving my problem of being unemployed? Where are these people who are supposed to hire me? And why aren't they coming to me? I have such a great skill set, right? So we got to reverse engineer everything. You got to go from, you got a job for me, to here's what I can do for you. Here's how I can solve your problem. And to get into this today, we're going to break it down into 3 different areas. The first piece is your career. The second piece is your network. And the third piece is your pitch. When it comes to your career, we tend to get very hyper-focused with what's happening right this second. The next job, the next conversation, the next interview. I want to start by going a little bit broader, by looking at the entire length of your career, and honestly, your life, because it's a lot bigger than it seems right now. How old are folks in this room? I know I'm a little bit older than y'all. The grays are coming in. I'm starting to look like Mr. Fantastic. But what age? What ages we got? Just shout it out. 22? 23? 23? All right. What is it? 19. All right, the closest to what I was guessing. You're a little older than what I was thinking when I came in. So we're going to start with your career. 19, 18, 23, it doesn't matter. What is the average amount of time we're going to be alive? 17. It's actually 76. It's even a little higher. The stats keep going up. I believe we have someone who's like 110 alive right now, getting up there. And we're all digital people. We're all in the tech space, right? We hope that we're going to be living way past then, right? So at least 100. Let's say we get lucky. We luck out. We get to be 100 years old. Make a grid for yourself. This is 100 years. 10 by 10. This is what your life looks like on paper. Kind of weird to think about, right? If you're between 18 and 25, you're barely through the second line of this graph. So this next job decision you're about to make seems really big, but it's actually pretty early on. We're going to be able to make a lot of decisions over the course of these years. What age do you think sounds old? It's kind of fun to ask someone in their 20s what sounds old. 60. 60 sounds old, yes. To me as well. I'm 31. Anyone else? What ages sound old? Does 40 sound old? We're seeing Jennifer Aniston, we're seeing Brad Pitt. We think 40 doesn't look so bad, 50 doesn't even look so bad, right? But just look at the difference between 18 and 40 on this graph. 18, 40. 18, 40. The distance between 18 and 40 is like 20 careers. It's incredible how much change will happen between the ages of 18 and 40, how much you will evolve as a person. But when you look at it on a graph like this, it doesn't look so intense because you still have so many more years to go. So even at 40, you could start everything all over from zero and have a great career. So the reason I do this is because it's stressful to find a job. But we can take a little bit of the pressure off in order to think more strategically long term and think of things as phases rather than a concrete thing that's going to change the entire trajectory of our life, right? Even Elon Musk has what, like 7 different companies he's running? Do you think he started them all when he was 20? No, he built it over time. He kept pursuing new problems and new interests. So how many jobs do you think, this is supposed to surprise you, but we're not in the PowerPoint anymore. So there's the answer. But how many jobs do you think you'll have before you turn 40? 12 to 15 different jobs. 12 to 15 different jobs. That means you're going to have to go through this process that you're currently going through at least a dozen times before you hit 40. And then likely more times after that. Again, I'm not trying to get you down. I'm trying to take off some of the pressure here because it's not a hard process when you start looking at it as a skill set rather than a burden. The same way that you learn skills in class to learn engineering, learn how to code, learn how to write, learn how to speak, you can apply all these same approaches to the job search. Treat it like a skill set, one that you will get better at over time, and one that you will continue to evolve as you go. And so what will you choose? My goal here is to help you relax. You're going to be doing this a lot. It's not life or death, for the most part. And there's plenty of time and room to shift and change as you go throughout this process. So we just need to pick something to kick things off. A good enough first job is good enough. And from there, you can do all sorts of great things, right? So as we go into it, how do you end up with that first job? Who here likes networking? We got 1, 2, we got a handful. What's your favorite way to network?
I like meet people and just speak to them.
Just meet people and speak to them?
Yeah.
How do you meet them?
And it depends on just going to like conferences or something like this.
Okay.
Or people and start talking about their job or their company or whatever, and just that.
Very cool. So just approaching people, I like it. Other folks, how do you like to network?
Stalking people on LinkedIn.
Stalking people on LinkedIn. You're reading my mind. I love it. I love it. There's a million, yeah.
I mean, friends of friends.
Friends of friends. There are tons of ways to meet people. Now, when you start the job search, the typical thing is going to be to go to networking events. But going to a networking event means nothing if you don't use that networking event to turn it into an actual personal connection, right? If we just go to an event and stand in the corner and don't talk to anyone and hope no one sees us, did we go to an event? No, we did not. So we need to turn these opportunities into something. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to build a network. %80 of jobs are found through a personal connection. 80%. Most jobs are never posted online. So for those of you who are just hoping to go to the career fair and walk out with a job, or go to a job board and click easy apply, it's not going to be that simple. Because while you're doing that, this guy over here who loves to just talk to strangers is saying, hey, here's my name, here's the value I provide, and before they ever post that job, he's already got it. Now they're just posting that job as a formality, and you're applying to something that doesn't really exist. A lot of times people will go in for an interview and be like, they went internal. Yeah, because that's how companies hire. They say, who in our company can do this job so that we don't have to pay anyone anything new? Who in our company, if we don't have anyone, knows someone who can do this job? That way we can save time in the job search. And then, if all else fails, where can we find someone outside of the company to do this job? So we do have to approach everything as we do the job search, but we always want to start with the highest value things first. And I know, networking is the worst. It is not super fun. It is exhausting. The excuse that I get very often as I coach people is it takes so much time. And you had mentioned earlier that time is such a tough thing when it comes to finding a job. Well, what's so interesting about time is that there's two ways to look at it: the short-term view of time and the long-term view of time, right? A lot of times people say, I don't have time or money to network, I can't buy coffees for people, and I don't have the hour to spare. So I'm just going to search online, it'll save me time. Guess how much longer those people end up searching for jobs than the people that network? How many months or years? What do you think?
I think triple time. But every
Triple
time-
the time? At least double. At least double. Probably triple, right? It takes typically 3 to 6 months to find a job if you're actively searching. It takes 6 months to a year if you're doing the basics of networking. Sorry, reverse that. It takes 6 months to a year if you're not networking. And it can take way, way longer if you just go through the job boards. So job boards have typically a 1 to 4% response rate until you're further on in your career, until you've got a lot of experience. Then the return on that investment goes a little farther because you have a lot of experience. Whereas networking has about a 40% response rate, comparatively. So 1 to 3% versus 40%. I don't know if any of you have taken a marketing class, but that's like saying I'm going to get all of my sales from my email list. My email list gets opened by only 60% of the people, if I'm lucky, and only 1 to 2% of those people convert, if I'm lucky. And so we can't look at our job search that way. It will take years and years and years to get enough opportunities to fill the pipeline. So, in order to reduce the barrier to entry to networking, I'd like to think about it in a little bit of a different way. Instead of thinking about it as networking, think about it as nerding out. What do you currently like to nerd out about? Anyone have nerdy things they're interested in? I'm seeing nods. What sort of things?
I like looking up Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, I love it. So you can reach out to different communities that are the writers on Wikipedia. One of my old roommates would spend hours a day editing Wikipedia entries. He can definitely help people get jobs, you know? Anyone else?
Playing chess?
Playing chess? Join chess groups. Meet people through chess. I bet you there's a lot of people in your field who also love to play chess. And you can start thinking of unique ways to network too. Maybe a game of chess in the park for someone who's a chess fanatic, right? I actually had a student recently. It was around January, he started searching for a job, and he said, I realized pretty quickly no one wanted to meet up because it was the holidays. Most job seekers say, I guess I'll stop. No one wants to meet up, I guess I'll stop. I'll stop reaching out. Maybe I'll try again in February. He went the opposite way with it. He said, no one wants to meet me, I'm gonna meet them. He told me he went grocery shopping with someone. Now, would I do that? I don't know. I don't know if I have that level of confidence. This guy is like next level, right? But I can tell you he has 6 job offers right now. So maybe you should meet up with someone for grocery shopping. I'm not actually saying that. But you can find other fun ways to meet with people. Well, what do we have here? Has anyone heard of Code in the Dark? Yeah? It's an organization that gets coders together for like a party atmosphere and like hackathons, right? You're not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what they do. And they have like Star Wars theme nights. Sports tech meetups. I had someone who wanted to work in the sports tech industry and he said, there's no meetups in my area. I said, start one. So he starts a meetup. 50 people join the meetup immediately. He reaches out to the CEO of, I think it's EA Sports, asks if he'll be a speaker. The CEO can't make it, but one of his VPs shows up, and they offer him an internship at the end of the first meetup. Do you see how getting out there and following your interests will help you get into the fields that you want to be in? Clash of Clans. I had someone find a job through his Clash of Clans Slack group. Who knew that was a thing? It's not in any of my lessons, right? So these people are finding opportunities by nerding out with groups that they find interesting. If you're interested and excited, people want to connect with you. If while you're talking about Clash of Clans, you happen to mention that you're job searching and you know exactly what value you can bring to the company, they can bring that information back to their employer. So I just want to branch out our brain from just show up to meetups and beg for jobs. I want to open it up to many more opportunities. And you got to find your nerds, right? You got to find the people that give a crap about the things that you give a crap about. Those are the people that are going to stay with you throughout your career, that 60 to 70 year career that you're building. If I come up to you and I say, hey, do you have a job for me? And you say what?
Yes.
No, you say no, because you don't, right? You say, I don't know, go apply online. Right? That's what everyone's going to say. Hey, do you have a job? I don't know, go apply online. Everything's online, right? We're going to go, damn it. But if I say, hey, you're really interested in machine learning, so am I. Maybe we should start like a machine learning club and bring together a bunch of people who love machine learning. Oh, cool, yeah, I'd be down for that. Now all of a sudden you're doing like robotics experiments and stuff together, and someone in that group is going to have a job that's going to open up someday. And you can bring in speakers and you can engage the community. A lot of really cool stuff. But we have to approach it with a them first mindset. If we go in there and we just say, hi, I'm here for a job, do you have one? Everyone will say, go apply online. Send me your resume via email and I'll never respond to you. If we say, hey, I think you're doing some really interesting things, and I think it'd be great to connect and see, what shared interests we have. Now, if they don't have an opportunity today, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that person gets you your dream job. I can't tell you how many people I met years ago who have helped me in my career today. As a matter of fact, one's right there. We were roommates, and he is like an epic videographer. And look at this setup, it's amazing. So you've got to think about the future, and you've got to think about other people first and how you can help them. If you ever look at your cover letters, has anyone here written a cover letter? Yeah, a handful? What does it typically start with?
Talking about that company, exactly what they're doing, fathers committed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it should say. Does your first sentence start with I, or me, or my, or hi, my name is?
Yes,
Hi, my name is, right? Every networking email I see sent out, every cover letter I see submitted starts with hi, my name is. And the person reading says, don't care. Right? Don't care, don't have time, moving on. We need to start by thinking about them. We need to say, your company is doing interesting things in this field. I share those values. How can I help your company pursue those values to a higher level? How can I contribute? Right? If we're approaching it in that way, we're going to get a much better response, because then they go, holy cow. Think about it as like dating, right? If you sit down and you spend the first 20 minutes of the date talking about yourself and never asking them about them, are they going to want to go on a second date? No, they're not. Oddly enough, there's a lot of overlap between dating and job searches. Just don't try and date during the job search. It's creepy. So what should you say? I don't know if anyone watched Parks and Rec, but this is like my favorite character of all time. John Ralphio and his sister. She just keeps saying, money, please. It just keeps going up to people saying, money, please. That's how we sound when we're trying to find a job. Money, please. Money, please. Does anyone have money for me? I have rent to pay. And the companies go, no. You're supposed to make us money, not take our money. So if you ask for a job, people will, if they're very nice, give you advice and send you on your way, send you to the website. But if you ask them for advice, and you ask a lot of questions, and you show genuine interest because you should be pursuing things you're interested in, they're gonna go, holy crap, this person is so curious, I want them on my team. You know what? I'm gonna do even more than give you advice. I'm gonna introduce you to the VP of the team and see if you two click, because I think we might be able to bring you on in a couple of months. That's the response that we want. But the only way we can get to that point is focus on solving problems. Again, the job search is not about you finding a company to solve your problem of being unemployed. The job search is about you solving the company's problems, making them more money, and in return, they give you a great salary and benefits. It seems simple, but when you're in the thick of it, people typically forget. So I try and really hit that home. It is not about them solving your problem of not having a job. It's about your ability to solve their problem, whatever it may be. And in order to do that, we have to ask questions. What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What are you struggling with? What are the company's goals? How do you plan to grow? What new technologies are you trying to bring in-house? What are the things happening in your industry that are going to have to shift your business model over the coming years? What are the things that you're not thinking about yet? Oh, I don't know. And now they're all freaked out and you go, hey, I can reduce your stress if you bring me on and I'll look up those answers, right? That's the kind of approach we want to bring to this job search. And it truly is the only way to prepare yourself for a lifelong career. There are so many people that I talk to, because I work with career changers, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I've worked with, people who are 55, and they started their career as a developer. And they went to a company, worked there for 25 years, only learned the in-house technologies, and then later on realized that they are 15 years behind the curve. And now they are struggling to keep up. We don't want to be that way. We want to always be looking for new problems to solve, always be looking for new technologies, always be staying on top of things so we don't get left behind. And so you hear about all this stuff with automation, taking jobs away, right? With, folks talking about ageism in the workplace. All of these are real things, but you can combat them by taking a problem-solving approach and showing up every day ready to fix things rather than just do your job and go home. And this brings us to our pitch. What we want to do is become incredibly articulate with our story. We want to understand the decisions that we made, why we made them, and what we've learned from the things that we've done. Companies are less interested in what happened, and they are far more interested in why and what you learned. Why did you choose that thing, and what did you learn from it? Even if it was negative, right? What did you learn, and how does it affect the future of your work? So knowing what your story is incredibly important. You can do the hero's journey. You can do the story arc. You can, set it up in a lot of different ways, and we're not going to get into all the details of that today, but I highly recommend looking up some storytelling techniques. There's a ton of great stuff out there. But you need to know where you're coming from and where you're headed next. So a lot of you have your computers out or notepads. Start to think about what it is that your skills can solve today. What do you currently do, and what problems can you solve? Can anyone say off the top of their head what problems they solve for a business? Yeah.
I know to be a salesman.
To be a salesman. All right. So what problem do you solve?
I know how to present products in a good way.
Present products in a good way. In order to do what?
Improve the sales.
What?
Improve the sales.
To improve their sales, right? So we can talk about retention. What are your strategies for retention of current clients? Acquisition. How do you plan to bring in new clients? Upselling. How do you plan to take current clients and get more business from them, right? Those are the three ways that you can make money as a salesperson in an organization. I'm sure there's even more than that, right? So if you can talk about those things, my skills allow me to retain people because I'm incredibly good at solving problems for my clients. I'm incredibly good at educating them on up and coming features. I mean, whatever the thing might be, right? So we want to look at the skills we already have and the problems that our skills solve. The next thing we want to do is figure out what happened in our past that gave us these skills. Why am I someone who can get up in front of a group and talk? Well, as a kid, I was terrified of getting up in front of rooms and talking. So I would join musicals and improv and do a bunch of different things in front of rooms in order to overcome that fear. Why did I do those things? Well, because I'm really interested in stories, and I'm really interested in marketing, and I'm really interested in movies, and I'm really interested in people and what makes them tick. Oh, okay. So now I can keep going deeper and deeper into that to figure out what it is that drives me. What actually drives me is understanding human behavior. Why do we say we want a job but can't get it? Why do we say we want to lose weight but can't lose it? Why do we say we want to make money but we're scared to talk about it? Those are the things that fascinate me, and that's what drew me into the marketing world and drew me into the coaching world. When you start going through your past, you can see what shaped you to get to today. And an easy way to break this down, what things did I try that I hated? Start there. Why did I dislike those things? My parents made me play baseball and I couldn't stand it, or whatever the thing might have been, right? Then say, what were the things that I found most interesting and why was that? And then how did those things impact other people? And we can start putting together our story of how we change the room for the people that we work with, right? And that's where we bring in where are we going with all this. So we know what skills we have and what problems we solve. We know how we built these skills and why we have an interest in this area. And now we're going to look forward and say, here's how we can help. But we don't really know how we can help, right? Because we're not in the job. That's the argument I'll get. Well, I don't have the job yet, so I don't know what problems they want me to solve. Well, thankfully, we have Google and LinkedIn. You can stalk people. You can look at their profiles. What did they do? Where did they work? What is a job title you wish you had right now? If you could wave a magic wand and have any job title, what would it be? Salesperson? Who's like the salesperson you know that you think is great at sales? You don't have anyone in mind? No parents or siblings or cousins that do sales?
No, I worked in a restaurant, and then the manager decided to move into the sales industry, and then he opened up his online factory to come up with these type of automobiles.
Interesting. So it's like entrepreneurship and sales kind of mixed together. So is that old manager someone that like inspires you? So there you go. So you can set him as a guidepost. That person is doing interesting things. How are they doing? What are they doing that's making them successful? What problems are they solving for people? He's making his own spices, you said?
Yeah.
That solves a problem. Solves the problem of bland food in restaurants, right? So we can look at the problems of the people that we respect, the ones that they're solving, and use that as a guidepost for what we might be able to solve in the future. For me, I'll look at other coaches, financial coaches, health coaches. What kinds of problems are they solving? How can I learn from them to be a better coach? Are they doing it online, offline, in person? You can also take a look at the people you don't want to be. Does anyone, don't call out names, but can anyone picture someone who's like, you would do anything not to have? Yeah?
To work as a driver for the rest of my life.
To work as a driver for the rest of your life. There you go. It's good to know what you're running away from as well as what you're running towards. If we only have what we're running towards, we only have half the picture. A dream of what we're running to. But then when things get hard, we might lose the motivation towards that dream. But if we know that if we lose that motivation, we're going to fall back into this, suddenly we get a boost of energy and it moves us in that direction, right? When I was working in marketing, I had coffee with, I think, 12 to 20 people at the company that were older than me, like 10, 15 years older than me, who I had a good relationship with. who I thought were interesting people. I got along with them. I said, let's get coffee. I sat down with each of them and I said, what are you most excited about in life right now? Not even just in the job, just in life. What are you most excited about? This is the most depressing series of conversations I've ever had in my life. The worst one, or the best one I got was, I kind of like my grad program. The worst one I got was, I want to quit this job so bad, but I just got divorced and I have to pay alimony for the next X number of years. And I went, all right, well, if these are the people that I connect with, maybe that's what I'm going to end up becoming if I stay in this place. I think I might need to get out of this place. I might need to make some changes. So it's good to look at the people that you aspire to be and take a note from them, positive or negative, to motivate you, to figure out what it is that you want to be doing next. And when you go talk to people at a career fair, talk to them about their interests. What brought them to this company? What made them interested in their role? Maybe they're just in the HR or recruiting arm. Well, what is it about recruiting that's so interesting? Talk to them about the things they're excited about, and you can find things that you can connect on. And here's the biggest one. Connect it back to why they should care. There's a great phrase in marketing called with them. What's in it for me? If you can't explain what's in it for me, you're going to lose my attention and you're not going to get my money. And so if you think about a company as a client or as a customer for your services, and you say, hi, I would like a paycheck of somewhere close to 6 figures from you. They'll say, okay, and I get what out of this deal? And you go, I don't know, but I do know I'd like to make 6 figures. Someone actually said that to me. They said, I don't know what job I want to have, but it costs, the median house in where I live is about $1 million. So I need to make a minimum of 6 figures in my career. And I go, what do you do right now? I make $16 an hour doing, admin work. I go, okay. So somehow you want to go from $16 an hour doing admin work to 6 figures, but you don't have any clue what you're going to be doing, what value you're going to provide, what problems you're going to solve, what ROI you're going to have for a company that hires you. You don't got any of that. You just want 6 figures. We're putting the cart before the horse. We got to look at the problems. Then we got to look at the solutions. Then we got to look at the value of those solutions. Sales has immediate value to an employer. If you hire me, I'll bring on more clients. Each client is worth this amount of money, which means I'm going to bring in X number more than you're going to pay me, because I'm going to get a percentage of that commission. Commissions, or the income is huge, the revenue is huge, the commission is small. It makes you a no-brainer to hire if you can do it. I'm not great at sales, so I'm not the best person to solve that problem. I have to figure out other problems to solve, right? But that's how you can start thinking about these things. And here's just a very simple way to lay out your pitch. So now that you've done the work to understand your story, you say, here's what I'm currently working on. Here's how I got here. Here's where I'm going. And then you connect it to them. And you say, and here's why I want to do it for you. Companies want to hire the person that is already doing the thing. They want to hire that person to do it for them, rather than the person who's sitting around going, well, I've got nothing going on. I've been job searching for 6 months. Okay, what have you been doing during your job search? Interviewing. What else have you been doing during your job search? Nothing. No projects, no side projects, no contracts, no volunteering. Nope. I was trying to find a job, so I didn't think any of that was necessary. All right, well, have fun continuing your search, because you're clearly not going to put in the extra work into my business if you won't even do it for yourself, right? Versus the person who's like, well, over the last 6 months, I have been volunteering for these organizations. I've taken on 4 different contracts at various rates. I've solved these things, learned these skills, and I really am excited about what you're doing, and I'd love to take all this experience and do it for you and solve your goals. help you get closer to what you're trying to do with what I've been doing up to this point. Those are the best sales. What are you doing now? How did you get here? And where are you going? So I'm a career coach that helps people navigate the emotional and promotional sides of their job search. I got here through the marketing world, learning human behavior and psychology and what makes people change how they act. And I utilize that to help companies improve their student outcomes by getting jobs at all the boot camps that I work with. Do you see how simple that pitch is? And I just kind of, I say it all the time, but it changes every time I say it. It doesn't have to be verbatim. You can flow with it. But it's much different than, I recently graduated and I'm looking for a job, can you give me a job? Right? When you say I recently graduated, what you're saying is I don't have experience. When you say I'm looking for a job, you say I've got nothing going on. And when you say, can I have a job? You're saying, please pay me money. I'm not sure what value I can give you. We've got to flip all of those things on their head and start with the value-based job search. Here's how I solve your problems. Here's what you'll get from me solving these problems. I'm so excited to work with you if you want to. And they will want to. So, this is a moment, I know we're a bit strapped for time, so I'm going to skip through it, but this is where you would practice your pitch if you want to take that present, past, and future approach. And here's how you can apply it. Robbie Leonard is someone who took his knowledge of his career and his skill set and built an online video game resume. You can literally go online and play his resume with your keyboard. So what is he doing with this resume? Is he conveying information about what he's done in the past and what he can do in the future? Yes, he is conveying the information the same way we would with bullet points, but he's doing it in a way where you see the value. You see how it could apply to your business. Holy crap, if he can do this for himself, what the hell could he do for us with a budget? Right? You were able to do this with no budget on your own? If we gave you a budget to work with, what could you produce for us? Probably a lot. And we can adjust our pitch for different things. It'll look different in an interview, it'll look different at a career fair, and it'll look different on a resume. And so for those of you who's going to the career fair, all right, everyone in the room, great. Before you go, do your research, write out questions and bring them with. Update your LinkedIn if you can with, here's what I do, here's how it helps, right? I solve these problems for companies. Print your resumes and get ready the night before. This is gonna help quite a bit. Always prepare the night before, know what you're wearing, and a little insider tip, go to the bathroom before you go, because you don't wanna get caught in the line. All right, I know we went a little over time, and I threw a lot of things at you, but what sort of questions is this bringing up for your job search? Anyone feel like they have a better understanding of why companies hire?
How important is the dress code?
For the career fair?
Yeah, like for example, if you have a loose suit, do you still recommend wearing that over a casual formal?
That's a great question. I don't know the norms of your school and the career fair, but I would say that smart casual is typically the new style now. So smart casual is basically this, but with khakis. So I would say if you have at least that, you're probably fine. But if you want to wear a suit, I don't think having a loose suit is a deal breaker. I think people understand that you're young and you're working with what you got. If you feel uncomfortable in it, that's where I would say try and wear something you're comfortable in. I'd rather you be comfortable and confident than uncomfortable in the proper attire. Does that make sense? And if you mess up, it's totally cool. I wore a suit, a full-on suit to an interview in Boston once. They flew me out. That was all I brought, just a suit and my bag. And I showed up and they were a startup and they were like, what are you doing in this suit? And I was like, I don't know. It was an interview. It was all day with the CEO, so I wore a suit. And the CEO was like, take that tie off, loosen up. And I could have been like, oh, I messed up, right? And like gotten all embarrassed and like totally taken down. But instead I doubled down on the suit. I said, you know what, no. My brothers and I have a thing where when we're at a wedding, when everyone else is undoing their tie and getting down to their, undershirts and like strap, I don't know what the term is for that shirt, but anyway, when people are getting down to their undershirts and throwing their ties in the air, we always stay buttoned up. If there's a camera out there, we stay buttoned up. And we're always looking the best in the post-wedding photos. So I told that joke, and she goes, so you're not gonna take the tie off? And I go, no, I'm not gonna take the tie off. And then the whole day, every time I passed her in the hallway, she's like, still wearing that tie, huh? And that was a memorable thing. I ended up getting that job. So if you're comfortable, that's what matters. And if you're confident, that's what matters. And I think that's a big takeaway for the job search in general. Each individual tactic, each individual thing you do, there's no 100% right way to do it, as long as you're doing it in a way that you're confident about. That's what's going to come through. Now, we can always get into the tactics and the details, and there's always things to tweak and improve. But your approach to it, your confidence in your ability to solve someone's problem will stand out way more than any resume or cover letter or piece of clothing ever will. All right? Any other questions about the job search? Yeah?
So, say you did well at the career fair and now you're at the next step, interviews, what would you say, like, what advice would you give for approaching like a behavioral interview?
So the question was, you've done a great job at the career fair, and now you're getting to the behavioral interview. What advice do I have? My advice is to go back to the stories that you want to tell. Too often we go into the interviews trying to memorize answers. That'd be like me getting up there today and trying to memorize a talk. Some people can do it, but if I did it, I'd miss a word, forget where I was, run back to my notes, right? And start freaking out. That's what happens in an interview. Feel free to head out. I know we're going over time. What you want to do in a behavioral interview is say, there's 2 or 3 stories that I know I want to tell in this interview. Kind of like a politician when they get up on stage. They don't get up on stage and say, I wonder what questions I'm going to get at this debate. They say, whatever questions they give me, I'm going to find a way to relate it back to the stories that I want to tell. So if you have 2 or 3 good stories, maybe your strengths and weaknesses, the time you had a conflict with a fellow student, the time that you showed leadership skills, those 3 stories can answer about a dozen questions depending on what you're asked and how you approach the answer. So get that down and just know that every single interview will say, tell me about yourself. And what they're asking when they say, tell me about yourself is not, give me your life story from birth till today. What they're asking is your present, past, future. They're saying, why are we here? What are we talking about and how can you help? And really what they're saying is, I don't know how to kick off this interview. Can you do it for me? And so you get to set the tone. You get to say, well, I'm really interested in this type of technology and how it solves business problems. I got this interest through my experiences in school and in the past. And I'm so excited to talk with you today about how you're utilizing this technology in your business and how I can help contribute to the team and help you continue to grow. That is such a solid pitch that kicks off the interview. I'm like, holy cow, this person knows exactly what they're talking about. And now you can go talk about your personal life and other things while answering other questions. And if you're struggling with the strengths and weaknesses question, go to 16personalities.com, take the personality test. It'll give you a list of your strengths and weaknesses, and then outsource your answer. So you can say, hey, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Well, a lot of us get embarrassed to brag or get nervous to talk about weaknesses. So instead of doing any of that, we say, according to this test, it says that my weaknesses are, and my strengths are, and I agree with this one, and here's why. We outsource it. It makes it a lot easier. So the more you can outsource to, I've gotten this feedback from a teacher or an employer, the easier it gets, because now you're not talking about, things that you're like heated about or worried about. You're talking about objective things that you've heard. So hopefully that'll help. And if you don't have anything, go ask friends and family. What do you think I'm great at? What skills do you think I bring to the table? What would you come to me for? I ask that question. Everyone says, I come to you for non-judgmental, like an ear to bend that's non-judgmental with some decent advice. And I go, well, that's exactly what I do as a coach. That makes sense. Great. Perfect. All right. So you'll find ways to put these things all into practice. Any other questions on the job search? How to start your career? All right. If you liked what I was talking about today, you can find me on a few different places. We have a Meetup group here in Chicago where we bring together tons of job seekers from all industries to share insights and to feel less isolated. The job search can be incredibly isolating. A lot of sitting behind a computer by yourself, banging your head against the table, wondering why no one's getting back to you. So we talk about those things, we go deep into these topics, and we try and make it easier to go through this process in a less lonely way. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I have a daily live stream every single morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Time, which is our time. So if you have questions or follow-ups or topics you want to go deeper into, anything we talked about today, just bring it up during the live stream and I will go deeper into it. And you can also find me on YouTube where I do podcasts and share all the different video content that helps you with your job search and your career development. All right, so thank you so much for coming in today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for sharing your insights and your different thoughts. And feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn if you have more questions. Appreciate it, everyone.